Okay.
10.
Stand by. 5, 4, 3.
All right, what got you into singing old jazz standards?
Oh, I think it was a combination of growing up in New Orleans around a lot of those Dixieland musicians. Growing up in a household where my parents were always playing old Frank Sinatra, Nat Cole, and Louis Armstrong records, and just a love for the lyric and the melody of those Cole Porter and George Gershwin, Harold Arlen songs.
Now, your very first album was an instrumental, is that right?
That's right. It was called Harry Connick Jr. I did it in 1987, and it was all piano music, no singing at all on that one.
Now, why, I mean, since you are such a good singer, why did you decide just to do piano?
I thought it best that I established myself as a vocalist, pardon me, as a pianist before I brought in my singing. You know, I just thought it was better, and also I had a lot of growing to do vocally. I didn't think I was quite ready to actually put my singing on a record. I still have a long way to go, but I figured might as well just jump in, you know.
Well, it seems like now your second album did have some vocals, and now you have the soundtrack from When Harry Met Sally, which is, you're really getting some critical acclaim now, in fact, from the jazz audience, who is pretty hard to please, I would suppose. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel confident that that I'm succeeding in broadcasting the music I play to a large audience of people, and that audience is constantly growing. You know, the jazz fans are really rough sometimes. You know, they don't want you to get up from the piano, they don't want you to sing, they don't want you to dance. They just want to be very introspective and brooding and into the jazz, you know, and that's fine for some people. I grew up in New Orleans. They taught us to entertain and smile and have a good time.
Right.
That's what I was brought up doing. So I like, I'm happy that the jazz fans like what I do.
Well, it seems to me like you're kind of coming into something that's all your own. I mean, you remind a lot of people of Frank Sinatra and people like that. It's been a while since we've had something like that. Is that the way you feel about it?
I think it's flattering that I remind people of Frank Sinatra. I mean, he's one of my idols, you know, and to be compared to him or even mentioned in the same sentence as His Majesty is quite a thrill for me, you know. And but I don't pay too much attention to that praise. You know, I spend all of my time practicing and trying to improve vocally because I want to be better than Frank Sinatra. You know, that's my goal. I don't want to be as good or my life won't be complete. I want to be better than all those guys. Now, that's incredibly difficult to do. For me to say I want to be better than Frank or better than Duke Ellington or better than Louis Armstrong, I'll spend my whole life trying to do that. Yeah.
You're pretty young. How did you actually get yourself out there so soon?
I think it was, again, a good combination of great press people, a great record company, a great manager, and on my part, a will to be known, because if I'm known, that means that acoustic jazz music is going to be known too. Not music with synthesizers, not this and that, not fusion. I'm talking jazz, authentic, swinging out music. And if the more famous I get, the more people say, "Hey, that's Harry Connick Jr., right? Oh yeah, he plays that jazz stuff." Well, if people like me, they'll like the music, and that's my whole point, is to try to make this music popular.
Were your previous two albums also in the jazz vein?
Yes, all my albums were and will be in the jazz vein, unless I might do a New Orleans piano record in the style of Professor Longhair or James Booker, which would require me to deal more with boogie-woogie and New Orleans style rumba piano.
Did you have any really rough times before you had the record contract trying to get them to see what you could do?
No, not really. You know, I mean, my rough times in comparison to other people's rough times are not at all. I mean, I say I paid my dues in New York and did this and that, but my daddy supported me in New York. I haven't suffered that much, you know. I mean, I've suffered losses in my life, yes, but also with regard to your question, to answer specifically, I didn't have a very difficult a time getting signed to Columbia, because I knew that from the time I was 14 that a guy was interested in me, and it basically wasn't too difficult.
Now, your most current album, the soundtrack, is actually crossing over into other categories, I guess, pop, adult, contemporary, or whatever. Is that good for you?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I remember a year ago even, they wouldn't even let me into the radio stations, the AC radio stations. My Columbia representative would go with me and they'd say, "I have this guy, Harry Connick Jr. out here. He's got an album called 20. Would you play it on your radio station?" Not only would they not play it, they wouldn't see me. Now, I just went to Boston, and I did an interview on KISS Radio, which is the #1 pop radio station in Boston. And for a jazz musician, gosh, you don't know how long I've waited and the jazz community has waited for something to happen. I'm thrilled that it's me, but now I've got the ball in my hands, and I'm sure not going to drop it until I get a touchdown. That was kind of neat how I said that, huh?
That was pretty good. All right, the movie. How were you approached to actually do the soundtrack for that movie?
A guy named Bobby Colombi. You remember the group Blood, Sweat, and Tears?
Oh, sure.
Well, he was a drummer for Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Now he's an executive at Columbia Records. He's a good friend of Rob Reiner's. I was at my daddy's house in New Orleans one day, and the phone rings, and like Rob Reiner calls me on the phone. My dad says, Rob Reiner's on the phone. I'm like, take a number. No, so I picked up the phone. I couldn't believe Rob Reiner was on the phone. He says, you want to do my soundtrack for my movie? I'm like, let me think about it, Rob. I'll call you back. I'm like, my God, this is the greatest opportunity of my life. Had no idea it would sell as well as it did, and that's basically how it happened.
Gee, who picked the tunes?
I'm sorry?
Who picked the tunes?
Oh, I got to
that?
stick my hand this side. This is where your voice is coming.
Yeah,
Rob Reiner.
Oh,
Rob
he picked
Reiner
the songs?
I'm sorry, we have to start over.
Rob Reiner, he's the one that actually picked the songs for the soundtrack?
Yes, Rob Reiner picked the songs. He was very, very instrumental in choosing the music for his movie. He's involved in every part of it from the day he conceived of it to the end of the post-production work for the movie. He was in the studio with me, as a matter of fact. When I hit that note, it had to be you, that big high note, he was in the studio going, come on, come on. Yeah. So he picked all the songs and was great.
Was that great fun for you to do those?
Oh, it was great. I mean, he's so funny in real life. I love that movie Spinal Tap. And I was constantly saying, well, how did you do this and how did you do that? He would always call me Heshy. Heshy, come in and do the Had to Be You. Heshy. Calls me Heshy. I like that. I like that kind of stuff.
You have done some acting too, is that right?
I just finished a movie called The Memphis Belle, which is a David Putnam production, Warner Brothers movie, directed by Michael Caton Jones. Has Matthew Modine, John Lithgow, Eric Stoltz, D.B. Sweeney, among many others. It's a World War II movie, and I play the tail gunner on the B-17, named Clay Busby.
Was that difficult for you to act, or have you had experience before?
Let me put it to you this way. The guy I play is from New Orleans, and he plays piano and sings.
Ah, that helps a lot. Is that
Boy,
something?
I had a tough time getting that role.
Is that something you might want to do more of, do you think, acting?
If it pays a tremendous amount of money, I'll do it again. I'm not going to lie. I'm in this business for the money. No, I'd love to act again. It's just a question of, playing. I play music for so long, and as opposed to going on vacation, I mean, everybody says, oh, he's trying his hand at acting now. He's a pianist, and now he's branching out. He thinks he can do everything. Well, I guarantee you, everybody watching this show right now, if David Putnam came up to you and said, would you like to be in my movie, I guarantee you everybody would want to do it. And I did too. I don't know if I'm any good at it. I might have been terrible, but I had a good time.
Well, good. I guess also now you have a tour coming up, is that right?
That's right. I'm going on a 12-city tour of the United States of America.
Of America. What will we see in a live performance?
Oh, gee, you'll see everything from laser lights to dancing girls to lions to jugglers. A host of surprises will be present at my concerts.
You're absolutely serious?
No, I'm not. I'm just kidding you. Of course I wouldn't bring jugglers in. Everything else would be there. I don't like jugglers.
Will you be playing with an orchestra, a big band?
I have an orchestra. I have about 18 strings and about 18 brass instruments, 15 strings. And then my trio, which is composed of Benjamin Wolf on bass and Shannon Powell on drums. And Mark Shaman, of course, who wrote all those great arrangements on the album.
Do you like playing with that many people?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, when I play with my trio or when I play solo, I have a lot of room to stretch out, get out there and dance and do whatever I want. The song list can change from night to night. When you play with an orchestra, it's very constricting because everyone's playing arrangements and there's not a lot of room for improvisation. But still, it's a wonderful thrill. It's like a power trip getting out on that stage with the microphone and I put my hand up like that and I feel like I'm doing a Michelob commercial. I love the looks of you.
Thank you for talking with us. Lots of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.